So and that ended up being a thing that so music, and I'll come back to later how God has helped me deal with it. But now music became an escape for me.
I love this. Okay.
You know, and then at that time there's some things that that God starts giving you like little rays of hope. In early 94, 95, no, 94, because I went back to playing drums, and even despite the stuff.
Yeah, and let's talk about when it comes to music. I mean, patch. We have to talk about patch.
So when I went to Nairobi school, the first thing that hit me was the patch band, and that's when I met my colleagues currently. And actually, one of my biggest influences in terms of playing is one Kaima Muiti. In Lavington, we used to go to. My parents have known. I think Kaima is one of the people I have known the longest. If you have known a guy from when you're 5 years old, you have known this guy for a long time. So I've known him for a long time. But he at that time, even before the accident, he would play in the worship team. There was another gentleman called James Morethi. His name is James Morethi, fantastic piano player. But Kaima,
I didn't know you've known Kaima for that long.
I've known Kaima for a long time. Him, his sisters, him.
Your family. And then you're going from Umeru.
And then Nairobi School Patch, he was also there. Anyway, but anytime he'd play the piano, I'm like, but there's some extra notes he's playing. So, and then the worship leaders, or whoever is leading the song, would be furious because he's playing these colors. Because now the other guy is not playing for straight, like he's basically playing straight, and it's okay. But Kaima would. So as a drummer, I was like, this guy is playing some nice thing, like these things that he's adding. So like if it's Baraka za Mungu, he has this very fancy things that he's adding. So I wanted to ask him another time because I was playing drums and I was so happy with what he was doing. I was like, this guy is doing some stuff. He told me like, I listen to this type of music called jazz. I'm like, So what is jazz? Like it's mostly instrumental. Then it picked me back to those days. Like, so that Henry Mancini Pink Panther thing that my dad
was
played,
jazz.
That was some jazz. So like it's instrumental, they've got this stuff. So now Nairobi School, now I realized that it has got a tradition of pianists. Some of the greatest pianists are from there.
Name them, man.
The Amunga brothers. Zach Amunga, John Amunga, Zach, Kaima. It has a tradition of piano players.
Chris Adwar,
the Kimetos. Kimeto is from there.
Even the Kimetos.
Myself, Jacob Asio.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
Like,
Down, it does.
Mwai.
Yep.
So it has, the reason why for some reason,
those are a lot of
like
heavy hitters.
Like significant pianists have come up from Nairobi. It has a culture of pianists. Because now I was in Form 1. There's a guy who now lives in the US. His name is Felix J. Mwangi, FJ. So pianists are a dime a dozen, you know. So now and then it's good you're talking about music. So in my healing time, I'd stay in the house. Guess which show has showed up on K? Now I am actively watching on K on channel 62. One Jimmy Gathu.
Yes. This
Jimmy
is everyone's story.
Let me tell you, you need to do on that guy. That man has done so much.
Yeah. Kwa jam inakam.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy Gathu. One Jimmy Gathu has got these shows that are running on TV. There's Kas and whatever. Rapem. And then I like that. Guess which of my shows?
Don't tell me the one Kas, the one which I
absolutely. So I like Kas. I liked what was the Thursday? I liked Rhythmics because Jamadeli rap was. But let me give you also another story that people probably don't know. Towards the end of my primary school into high school, I was a reggae head. Don Carlos and Black Uhuru, Israel Vibration. I was listening to a lot of Mighty Culture. So I like roots reggae.
introduced now by your students.
By students,
Yeah.
because now the guys who listen to reggae, so and reggae has got a heavy pocket. So I think that's what really
When you say heavy pocket, what do you mean?
pocket in music. Pocket is that pulse, like a guy that pulse that keeps on going on. Because there's music that you don't feel that heavy pulse. Yeah, and so we call it the pocket, you know, like imeshika, you know. so and it's a term that is actually a musical term. Like this drummer his pocket is heavy, you know. So I was really a reggae guy. Like there's a song by Black Uhuru and Don Carlos that I used to really like. Jah shall clean all the bodies, yeah, and separate them for man, you guy.
Boss, I was going to ask if you've done vocals, but it's okay. I know you haven't.
I'm not a singer. That I can tell you for a fact. I can't sing.
But we're going to come to this. But I think when it comes to vocal
yeah.
So I loved when you explained rhythm, when you explained harmonies, and when you explained melody.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you encompass all of those from a production perspective.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that. So even though you can't sing, when it comes to harmonies, I've seen you kill it. And we'll talk about specifically Madiba.
I'll come to that. So the accident has happened. So I'm saying there's a lot of time spent at home. So I'm watching TV, and all this music is now starting to happen.
You said you're saved. Gospel, are you touching anything?
I'm coming there.
Okay, sir, Paul.
I'm coming there. The only gospel at that time was Mary Wambui. Remember Mary Wambui? And a couple of so I was not really keen gospel at that time in terms of a genre or even the music. Then in 1993, before even the accident, I was at one of my cousins. She played for me an album that sounded so good. And the other music, the only gospel music I listen to is like when you're doing those Sunday school plays, some guys will play this music. So in 1994, and that's why I say that God in his own wisdom has got this thing that, so I mean, the pain is ridiculous, but a lot of music just all showed up at the same time that changed my trajectory completely as a musician. And a lot of it was gospel music. So in 1994, she gave me a cassette. For those who don't know cassette is a thing that used to play music in two sides, so side A and side B, and it was made of tape. And so you could forward, you could rewind, and then you turn on the other side. So you could press play, and even probably record. So that's what a cassette is. Yeah, that's something.
So she gave you a cassette?
Yeah, she gave me a cassette of this music. I was like, who are these guys who are playing such tight rhythms? I'm like, woo! Ron Kimathi and Integrity Hosanna music. Now I'll come tell you how this thing changed my life completely. So, and they started issuing out videos of the performances. And then they focus a lot, because Ron Kimathi and those guys at Integrity Music changed how praise and worship music completely. They changed it from singing those the Maranathas and that type of American worship music. But this is black music that is so funky, like it is so, but it's not completely like black gospel, because there's a black gospel which is like, which is different. But this one you can tell the harmonies, the chords. You're like, what are these guys doing? So I went to Kaima's house another time. And then I think the parents had bought the DVD, so they even give a bio of the musicians. Little did I know. As at that time, now I'm even moving forward. Years later, what I saw at that time, I'm reading the names. I'm seeing there Chester Thompson. I'm seeing there drums by these guys. Little did I know that these guys are all jazz musicians who had been hired for the session. These are the guys who I later now come to listen, who I actively listen to right now.
Today,
They've played with Weather Report, Wayne Shorter, and all these jazz guys, So I'm like, Abraham Laboriel has played with Lionel Richie, is the bass. He has played in so many albums. Yep. I'm like, no wonder this music was sounding like this. But anyway, so that's what I started get. That's what now gospel
entered.
Yeah, yep. Ron Kenoli was like that's where it hit. And then Nairobi Baptist started doing covers. They started doing shows at every end of the year where they'd cover all this music. Now, in early 1994, we were a youth group that I used to play with. By the way, mind you, I'm in pain and I'm still whatever, but I still decided that music is my thing. So they decided there was a concert that was at Ufungamano. And so to play like a couple of like praise and worship. I was the drummer that time. So they're like, are you sure you're going to play drums? I was like, yeah, let me just play. Because I felt in my mind, like, let me just, some normalcy. So like, okay. So they introduced me like, this guy has just been through a terrible situation.
Been through hell.
Yeah. So even they clapped for me, Nini. And so we did praise and worship. I played my drums. And then the end of the concert, guess who was playing? Heart.
Ooh, it was Heart.
Pete Odera and
Ted Josiah.
They killed. That was my first experience of, first of all, the sound. And I think in my mind, I'm like, these are Kenyans. Those are days Pete used to have a hearing. You know, Pete Odera. And he had this to specs, drastic. Hey, you guys. And with moves. I'm like, whoa. Those are not moves used to like do like for. Pete, Pete, let me tell you, Pete books will be written about that guy. Pete Odera. I think what I've learned from Pete is his humility. Pete is what you call an icon. He's not even a legend. He's an icon, you know, because he got so much heat, you know, for what he's done. And that's what my first experience with. It's like even the pain that I was feeling for that moment dissipated because of what I was hearing, you know, because Ted was the music guy. He was up and down doing the sound, playing the keyboards, and Salio Yugi. Man, those guys just brought it down. You know, we would have known that later. Anyway, we'll come back to that.
You have so many things you have to come back to, but I love it.
So,
so this moment showed you this thing is not just being done outside. It's been done here. Because I've been watching all this stuff with Jimmy Gathu, and then also my dad signed us up, myself and my team,
and team and my sister for competition, like a singing competition. Methodist Guest House had a music school that would do these programs for piano and whatever, and they had this music competition. So they signed us up. But you see, we killed it because, you know, us guys have been doing it for so long. So we just sang the songs that me and my sister's singer. You know? So we just went and did.
So there's you on drums, your bro on
my keys, and my sister singing. I think there's a pic. I'll go look if there's a pic. I think there's a picture somewhere. That was 1994. Guess who was the host? And for me, I was like, how incredible. I've just seen Pete, and then later, in fact, the one who gave us the award, Jimmy Gathu.
Oh, man. Every kid's icon. Yep, guys have no idea about how
Jimmy Gathu was the guy. Because, you know, before Kaskas and all these shows, he was hosting. You'd see him, he'd appear, and then Rastrat, even before Club Kiboko didn't even start it.
So he was hosting these music
shows. Yeah. Later he stopped hosting them, but he was the face. Before a song, you'd see him there, Nini. And then what was so cool about it, I guess it's because of his acting, he'd take the role of each genre of music. You know, he'd have these brilliant colors for Kaskas. Then he'd be very yo-yo for rap, and for what was rapping. And then he'll wear this kofias for Jamadelic. So he was an icon, you know. I forgot an experience that happened in 1992. I was in Standard 7, and at Lavington United Church, a visiting group was invited to perform. and they sang. And actually now, this is probably Tim may have mentioned, I think that was his moment that he wanted to do music. It was Five Alive.
Ooh. That one is worth going back to if you forgot it.
Yeah. One Sunday, we're told that there's these guys in the youth service who have showed up. They want to present a song, and they sang a song called Hakuna Mungu. My God. Chris Kamau, Eric.
People who you've worked together with like crazy till today.
Till today, yeah. Those were moments. Then now, so this thing has happened to me. Then 1994 became like
injection of music.
Because I was staying at home watching a lot of TV. Gospel has come, and let's not forget that now I started digging records that I used to listen to those days. And guess it's one of the most stackiest bands, but I still like them these days, and I'm not ashamed to say I like them. Boney M. I actually dig Boney M. I don't know why, but I dig them. Because of Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ. You guys, up till now, imagine last year during Christmas, I went on and streamed them on Spotify. And when I cut then, I felt very happy with myself. I was like, this is Christmas. Christmas cannot be Christmas without Boney M. I can listen to Tori Kelly and all these guys who are, but Boney M, Boney M has been playing.
It's so funny when you say Boney M, I think of Alliance Hotels. There's a radio that always played those songs. I
was an experienced Boney M listener. I was not listening to their Christmas album.
Yeah.
I was listening to there's a song called Ra Ra Rasputin. There's another song called Ma Beka. There's another song called King of the Road. La Vida. You guys, man. Even their very bad Swahili of Malaika. Nakupende, Malaike, Nakupende. And then how was I so sad when I found out the guy who produced Milli Vanilli, the same guy who produced Boney M. That black dude was not the one singing.
Yep.
I was so like, you guys got me, man. But they did their thing. That's my music tradition.
Yeah. Okay.
European dance pop music. Remember when Europops, Disco Rally? You know, those are the shows that I used to watch on TV.
Yeah.
So, Top of the Pops, yeah. So,
let's go back this Form 2 experience.
Form 1.
Oh, Form 1.
Yeah.
No, but Form 1 you've not really chilled.
That's the time I'm chilling. This is 1994.
Okay, fine.
So, and then at that time,
actually, this is a time.
Yeah. So, but I was not in school per se. But then I'm absorbing all this music, integrity music, Hosanna music has come, and now I'm starting to delve into gospel music. That's when I'm introduced to now. At the end of the year, there's a Lavington, as I used to say, Lavington United Church had this big youth
concerts. Yeah.
And so now the cool kids, the guys from Saints, showed up with CDs. That's when now CDs had started showing up.
It's so funny that you have to explain to people what a CD is now.
It's called a compact disc. And it uses a laser to read the information. And a CD was invented in 1981. So CDs showed up here probably in the early 90s. And I can remember those days, the hi-fi systems.
Yep.
When you go to those homes that had a hi-fi system, you know,
Tana, Phono,
Sanyo,
Equalizer,
Panasonic,
CD, tapes,
7 graphic equalizer, EQ, you know. But anyway, so now the cool kids started showing up with CDs. That's when I started listening to the Winans.
Oh.
And the videos that started showing up on KTN, because now sometimes on Sundays they'd have these gospel shows where they play a lot of these videos. And now the Winans started showing up, commissioned.
So you were talking about the Winans day one.
No, actually, me, I'm not even day one. The Winans started in the early 80s. Okay. So they're the real original day one.
You're talking about CC and BB in one group.
Yeah. So now this is the time when they started getting more into the R&B stuff.
Okay.
So now, for me, now the guys who are closer to sounding like R&B are now commissioned.
Yep. Freddie.
Yeah. Then in one occasion, one of the times I was in high school, on one Saturday in Form 1, I was in this, he was a prefect. I was hanging out in his study room, and there's this show that used to come on KBC that played gospel music. And this guy, they played a song there. I was like, who in the world are these guys? I'd never heard anything like that in my life. So it evaporated, like, hey, there's some music I listened to today. And then one day I was watching TV at the time when I was staying at home, and a video showed up of these guys doing this stuff, and they're a cappella.
Oh.
And they're doing like bang, bang, bang. They're like, and then for me at that time, I'm like, these chords, like, what these guys? I found out later it's Take 6.
Take 6.
Those guys.
You've talked about Take 6 your whole life.
Why? The reason why I speak about Take 6, because it was the time when I was healing. And it's the music that I was listening to. And so it is etched in a memory. It's like it's locked up there. So even when I listen to Ron Kenoli, it's right there.
It's like a new foundation for the banker.
Take 6 are like there, So it became like a new foundation for me. So I was like, so my quest for learning harmony ended up being Take 6, because that's what I listened to, because I wish I could play what they're singing on piano.
Okay, explain to guys Take 6. Because I don't think people understanding when you're saying Take 6.
Take 6 are this ridiculously, they completely changed the game for a cappella and everything else. Their harmonies are, I'd never had, because there's the regular a cappella where you harmonize. There's the a cappella group, the a cappella group that we listened to in high school. And there was a big group at that time that would do all those tunes that many people would cover. But this is advanced harmony. This is rhythms. This is like, what in the world are these guys doing? And apparently, for me, the first experience for Take 6 for me was not even an a cappella song. It was when they started implementing instruments. So there's an album that came out in 1994. You see, that's the time I'm telling you.
This 94 is huge for you.
There's an album called Join the Band that they featured Queen Latifah. They had Brian McKnight and all this. And then later I find that Brian McKnight's elder brother is part of the group. But anyway, so this music, so I started having a real inkling on R&B and this soul, gospel, jazz. Boys to Men, the album 2.
It's the second album.
Yeah, so now Western music started having a big shape on my music. There's still, as I say, there's my DNA.
Yep.
But now this is a new layer that has now been added into what I listen to. So I started pursuing this music. There's this gospel harmonies, and why I liked Boys to Men, because they're also big on harmony.
Yep. Yep.
There's a song of theirs called Thank You. The
I
first
like
song. Which sounded very similar to Take 6. And then I found out later in life that Take 6 are like their biggest influence in terms of harmonizing.
Yep.
So harmony became like the big thing for me.
Yep.
And that's what pushed me to the piano.
Man.
Because I couldn't. And then Nairobi School, as I said, has got this pianist. I one day I think I was in the middle of, anyway, sometime 1994. One of the music we're going for a class for music, and then I had this guy playing piano in the music room. Because why Nairobi School has a huge piano music culture is because all the houses had a piano there was a piano everywhere. In the hall, and there was a piano somewhere. So there's always someone playing a piano any time of the day. I walked into the music room, and Zach Amunga is playing this lick by There's a Hero by Mariah Carey. And it has a very distinct piano line. I was floored. I was like, how is this guy playing exactly the same way? And I think that, and as I said, Kaima has this incredible chords. And then Zakamunga, because they're in the same class of 94. So I'm like, these guys are, that's what drew me. Because in my mind, I'm like, I wish I could translate my pain. Because the drums can't do that in that way. Because drums is heavy rhythm. But I wish, because it's soothing to me. The reason why I wanted to play the piano was because it would soothe me. I felt that it soothes me. I didn't want a guitar for some reason. But I just wanted the piano. Probably it's because what surrounded me at that time. So, come 1995 in Form 2, which is a miracle in itself. I didn't do Form 1, even I didn't do the last exam. So now I was coming to second form, so they wanted me to repeat. But remember those days repeating was like stigma.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why, but it shouldn't be.
Yep.
Like there's no hurry.
Yeah, there's no hurry.
There's no hurry.
When you enter this life thing,
yeah,
like,
there's no hurry. Like if you can repeat. Yeah, like but it was stigma. So I really didn't want to repeat. So what the principal at that time said was that if he can pass the first exam for the first term in second form, then he can continue. Man, I read that class, and I ended up blowing it. Out of 40 students, I think I was like number 12. Then I started failing. So I think I've gotten it. Now I don't care about reading. Let me go do music, because my next exam I really flunked. But 95 became a very pivotal year for me because the treatments were still going on. That's when I actively started playing the piano.